Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to fix a standard fog machine. And what the problem is with this fog machine is this pump here has went out. This is a 110 volt pump that basically takes the liquid out of the reservoir into the pump and then pumps it into the heating element. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to remove this pump here. Alright, the next step here is I've emptied the fog liquid out of the reservoir, and I basically just took a crescent wrench and backed this nut off here, which was screwed into the output side of the pump. This is the input side here where the fluid would go in, and I've cut the wires here off because this pump is basically no good. In this reservoir is just a plug here. You can just pull it out. It's barbed so that fits in there and sucks the fluid out whenever the pump is running. So we're going to basically hack this fog machine. We're not able to find this pump online anywhere. It looks like it's made by Anatari Lighting and Effects Company, but the only place I could find it was over in mainland China, and it wasn't available. So we're going to hack this fog machine. I'll show you some parts here that you could use locally. Maybe $20 to fix your fog machine. Yeah, you could probably go out and buy a new fog machine, but what's the fun in that? So here we go. Okay, so before we get started, let's go over some of the parts that we can get locally at our hardware store or auto parts store or our local Radio Shack. And hacking is about finding things that wouldn't be used for normal uses, such as finding a pump. And this is a GMC windshield washer pump. The problem with this pump versus what's in there is the voltage. The pump that was in there is 120 volt AC. This windshield washer pump will do the job as far as pumping liquid in and out, but it's 12 volts DC. In order to fix that problem, we need just a few basic parts like a transformer that will transform the 120 volt AC from your house down to 12 volts. And then we're going to run that through just a typical bridge rectifier that will change it into DC. We've got a printed circuit board that's sort of optional that will just make it easier to solder the wires to. We've got some plumbing issues here. The old pump was basically a hard pipe, 3/16 compression, so we're going to convert the compression fitting over to a barbed fitting and then use some tube here to press onto the pump. And then we also have another barbed fitting that's going to be on the tube and then interface into the bottom of the reservoir. So that's kind of the game plan as far as pieces and parts, and part of the scavenger hunt of going to the hardware store and having a little fun with a little project. Okay, the first modification I did is I just took a 1/4-inch drill and drilled out the hole there, and I just took a rubber mallet and kind of tapped in the barbed fitting there. I did kind of crack the edge there, but it's still going to be functional because we're just going to basically adapt the plug to a barbed fitting there. And I went ahead and put my tube on, as you can see, so now I've got it adapted to a tube barb to the reservoir. Alright, so now I'm going to put my adapter on to this pipe here, which is the input to the heating element of the fog machine. And I'm just going to go ahead and leave this nut on there because this compression fitting is locked on there pretty good, and it doesn't really matter. I've already got another nut and a ferrule, so I'm going to, and this pipe is long enough that I can go ahead and just put that compression nut and ferrule and then go ahead and tighten this new fitting on. And I'll just take a crescent wrench and do that, and then turn this on with a little bit of pipe thread there. And I've got my other now I have my other barbed fitting there, and I'm just about out of space, but I could go ahead and just bend this back a little bit and give me a little bit more room to put my pipe on. Okay, so here's what my modification looks like. Like I said, I just tightened that up there. I put my adapter fitting on there to barb, and now I have a tube, and that will allow me to go ahead and make the tube connection I need to my new pump, as well as my reservoir. I have a tube connection now to the new pump as far as the input, and then the output going to the heating element now. Okay, so electrical is next, and this is a transformer, just a standard AC transformer. It has a primary side, primary coils, and secondary coils, and so the reason why we have to have this is for our hack. The old pump was 120 volts. Our new pump is 12 volts. So this transformer has two primary leads. We're going to be putting the 110 volts in AC on this side, and it's going to transfer it down to 12 volts AC on this side. Now this one has three leads on the secondary, and the reason it has that is as a center tap. So if we hook up leads to this black one, and this one would be 6.3 volts. And that's not what we want. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wire nut this guy off or cut this off, and we're just going to use the two yellows. And when we use the two yellows, we'll get 12.6 volts AC out of here. And then we're going to have to run that through a small rectifier. So we're basically going to connect the two AC wires there, and that's going to convert this down to 12 volts DC. And this is a 50 amp AC rectifier, so it should be plenty big enough for our little project, because our motor is only like a 1 amp motor, and this is a 1.2 amp secondary transformer. So we should have plenty of power here, so we'll just find some spaces inside the fog machine to mount it. For my electrical connection, where the existing pump motor was connected, I went ahead and just crimped on butt splice connectors to the primary side of the transformer. So this is actually 110 volts coming from the neutral side and the hot side, and then going into our transformer. And then we'll go ahead and hook up our circuit board and diode and all that to our pump on the opposite side. And then I also mounted the transformer down. Okay, so here we've got our circuit board, and I've just cut it in half here, and just soldered the rectifier on this circuit board just to make it easier to connect. I had to put it on the top because the holes weren't big enough for the leads. But all I'm doing is I'm taking the AC voltage into these two leads and then taking the DC voltage out. And this is going to be 12 volts DC coming out of these two blue wires here, and that's what I'm going to use to hook up to the pump. Okay, before I get started, I just kind of want to do some initial troubleshooting and make sure I got everything okay. I've got my board here, my rectifier, I got it wrapped in electrical tape, Super 33 3M, just for electrical reasons. I went ahead and marked the positive lead because since we're dealing with a DC motor, we're going to want to get the polarity correct so the pump turns the right direction. I've got my meter here, and I've got it set for DC voltage. And I've got my fog machine on with my timer, so I'm going to go ahead and push the button here. And you can see that I'm registering 12.77 volts there. And that is the correct voltage that I need for my pump motor. So I'm ready to connect my pump motor now. Okay, so I've got my reservoir tank in here, and I went ahead and plugged my pump up, and then I kind of did a little test run here, and you can see the liquid is going to pump in here and then pump out and then go right into the heating element. This copper pipe here gets a little bit hot because of the heating element, and it lasts to about this bend here, and then it's you can touch it with your finger, so things past this joint here is going to be pretty hot. So let's go ahead and watch the pump. As you can see, we can pump the fog juice in there, and you can already see that it's kind of working. It's got some air in there, and as it pumps out, it will turn itself off here. And then once the heating element gets too cool to burn the fog, if you guys didn't know how a fog machine works, there's a little heating element here that measures the temperature of the heating element, and once the liquid basically cools the heating chamber down enough past this temperature set point, it turns the electricity off and then allows the heating element to cool, to basically heat back up and then turn the electricity back on so that we're allowed to run the pump motor now. So there you have it, one modified fog machine that had a bad pump motor, replaced it with a window pump motor with the transformer and bridge rectifier. So hope you have fun with this little project.